That never gets old. Let's see what we got here. Yep. This is my 2015 Hyundai Genesis with over 230,000 miles. And yes, I keep it alive myself. The other day, the dash lit up like a Christmas tree. Turns out the culprit was a bad wheel bearing. Stick around, because today I'm diving in to fix it. You notice I pulled out the old wheel bearing. A lot of this oil is from the WD-40 PB Plast type stuff that I was using. This is how it looks from the back. So there's 4 bolts. I want to say the orientation, if you were to look at it, you have 2 upper bolts and 2 lower bolts. This is looking at it from the back. There's a wire that goes in this way. It's got a clamp on it that you pull off. That wire is right here. So this is the clamp. You squeeze this on the inside here. If you look, you see how well you can see this. You push that down, you can pull this whole connector out. So there's a magnet in here, and when your wheel spins, it basically sends a signal to the actual computer, so it knows exactly how many revolutions there are, and it can tell based on how fast compared to the other wheel, your speed, all those things, to tell if your wheels are slipping, like if you're in the rain and you give it too much gas, that kind of thing. So when the wheel hub bearing fails, this can actually fail on the inside. This vehicle has over 222,000 miles on it, so wouldn't be surprising if it actually failed. Yeah, so I'm just gonna go ahead and replace it. I replaced the other one. Excuse me. We replaced the one on the driver's side, and I should have done them both at the same time, but we were in a hurry and the parts weren't really available, so going from there. Now, I had to remove part of the lower control arm. I had to pull this out so that I could get, like we were talking about, to this bottom bolt right here. Couldn't really film it from the back. It's really hard to see, but with the arm in, you can't get to this bolt, so I had to pull it out, which means I had to take off the nut that was on here from the bottom. As you can see, pretty sizable nut. It was a 22, bolt. These are the bolts you got to take out. They basically go in here like so, and your upper control arm was sitting probably right about here, so you would not have been able to get a wrench in there. Kind of a pain, wasn't too hard to remove. But I had an issue with the bolt that goes on the upper control arm spinning freely, which is no good. In case you were wondering, it is a T55 to get it off. It being these Torx bolts, T55. T55. So now I'm gonna try to reassemble everything. And now what I always do, I always try to compare new parts to old parts. So I'm gonna take this out of the plastic here. It's hard to do one-handed. As you can see, they look pretty similar. I can't let these threads touch the ground because I don't want to hurt the new bolts. This is the new one. That's the old one. So there you have it. So I guess I'll try to go ahead and put this thing back where it belongs. Now, if you look, your wheel speed sensor is in here, facing that way, which means this. What do you think, Steven? This way?
I think so.
So I got a new one in. Has not been tightened down yet. I'm going to figure out what the torque specs are, but this is way smoother than what was on there. Yeah, hey. Anyway. So, not sure if you could see that. Hopefully you can.
Many unbearable hours later.
Right, it is the next day, and man, what a pain. So, caliper's back on, and the bolts have been torqued to spec. I will tell you, the bad part was this wheel bearing. I actually broke the connector on the back. So, this connector right here, I've actually epoxied together. How well you can see that. But it was necessary. So, the reason why it broke is because this lower control arm, the bolt wasn't in it, but it was inside the socket. It popped up and it smacked into this connector. Right? Surprised me when it happened. It really did. And it's a real bummer because part of the reason I had to replace this is because we were throwing codes for the wheel speed sensor. And the reason why I didn't replace the sensor is because the last time on the passenger side, it wasn't the sensor, this is the wire for it. It wasn't that sensor. It was actually the wheel bearing. So found this wheel bearing. It's a Duralast for about $115. And they shipped it to the house and it came. So I went ahead and put it in. Also, I went ahead and put these screws back in. They don't really do much, but I kind of like to put everything back to the way it's supposed to be. So the calipers didn't have to do much brake work. I pried these open a little bit, or the pads apart to put it back on. That was pretty easy. But yeah, so I guess the next part is putting the wheel back on. I wanted to mention what a pain that was. So this nut that you're looking at goes nut lower control arm, and it was spinning. We were trying to tighten the nut and the bolt was just spinning because I guess there's a seal that went bad inside of it. So I was out here pretty late. We ended up jacking up the steering, well, not a steering knuckle, but ended up jacking up the knuckle so we could put pressure on that lower control arm so we could get just enough tension on that bolt to be able to screw the nut on. So we got it on at like 9. I think I started this at like 4 or 5. This is what happens when you have a vehicle that has 222,000 miles on it sometimes. Things don't always go well, but we got it in and we're good to go. All right, so I'm getting in the car. Excuse the mess. For the first time. That never gets old. Let's see what we got here. Yep. So we're gonna go ahead and release the parking brake. We're gonna go straight here. So the radio kicked on, but looks like some of those lights went out, which is good. Yeah, we need windshield wipers. Anyway, so may have taken care of the first issue, which is good. Awesome. Well, that's a wrap on the wheel bearing saga. It threw me some curveballs, but in the end, the repair held strong, running smooth for a couple years now. So if you were wondering whether that epoxy worked, it did. Thanks for sticking around. Remember to like and subscribe for more videos.